What's good, YouTube? It's Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with another video. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Also, check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. If you want a t-shirt, you can message me on Facebook. I got different type of logos and images. You can get any color shirt, or you can change the logo on the shirt. Just message me on Facebook if you're interested. What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a video on this Monday. Whew, just came off vacation, but we're going to talk about another free agent. I did this with Clint Capella, and we waiting to see Rodney Hood. Other than Dwayne Wade, I gotta give him credit, is the only free agent that actually got a significant notice. I mean, basically what I'm saying, he's the only big name free agent, not really superstar, but he's a name that a lot of people know and respect around the league. He was a guy that was involved in a trade that sent him to Cleveland, where he played with LeBron James and ended up reaching the NBA Finals. He was a guy that I told you I didn't think he would be a superstar. I thought he'd be more of a glue guy, and he was able to do that in Utah. It's just that they had so much success with um, Donovan Mitchell that they didn't want to pay both of them. And remember, they already paid Alec Burke. They just gave money to Derek Favors and Dante Exum. So, trading Rodney Hood cleared up some space for them to make some deals. And he has that potential. He is 25 years old. He's a guy that just came off a season where he was averaging 16 points a game for the Utah Jazz in 39 games and 12 starts. 42 from the field, 38 from three, 87 from the free throw line, giving you 2.8 rebounds and 1.7 assists. And he also averaged 10 points in Cleveland in 21 games. He started 11 of them. 44 from the field, 35 from three, 81 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. And I also want to talk about his playoff numbers. He didn't really play that much in the playoffs, considering that he was one of the bigger names in that trade. Even though in the games that he played, even in the NBA Finals, he had a game where he had 2 points. He had a game where he had 15. And he had a game where he really struggled and had 10. But I'm not going to make a cop-out. It's really hard to gauge his playoffs because he plays so inconsistently. He didn't get that many minutes, and he didn't really get consistent minutes. One game he'll play 20 minutes. One game he won't play at all. Then he'd be playing with this lineup. He didn't play with that lineup. I feel like him not getting that offer from Utah, especially because they couldn't really negotiate and reach terms, actually advocated to him getting traded. That's just my personal opinion. And Cleveland, they did need a forward other than LeBron. They did need some security just in case LeBron leave, because J.R. Smith is not going to be around that long. This team is going in a rebuild. Same with Kyle Korver. And you already know I don't feel like Kevin Love is going to stay that long, especially if they can get a first-round pick, mostly a top 15 pick, or even if they can get a top 10 by adding something else. I think they'll definitely pull that trigger if they can find a team willing to do that. If not, I can always see them getting a couple picks for Kevin Love, for a team that's trying to, get to that next level, and they need a guy like Kevin Love to help them get there. So this team is kind of keeping their veterans because they're on decent contracts, and some is untradeable, but also still trying to, tank enough. I don't think this team is pushing for the playoffs. I don't think this team will make the playoffs, but one thing I do know, they have a good guy in Colin Sexton. But this is kind of crazy that Rodney Hood really didn't get no offers. He didn't get an offer sheet or nothing, and we're in August. Now, only reason why I say it like that is because Rodney Hood can play. Even though he was inconsistent in the Cleveland, you look at his Utah numbers, he showed in the right system with the right talent around him and the right teammates around him, whether he's the third or fourth or even coming off the bench as a six man, he can still come out there and contribute. He can still give you 30% from three, 35, 36 at the worst. And that's what you want right now in the NBA, especially because he is a 6'8" shooting guard. He's a guy that can play multiple positions. He's a guy that can play the 2, the 3, or sometimes the 4, depending on who's out there playing the 4. And he can give you the 3-point shooting. He can get some jump shots, some pull-ups. He can come off screens every once in a while. So that's what the modern NBA is right now. Now, he has been inconsistent defensively. He hasn't really been able to stop any. It seemed like he hasn't cared. To me, it kind of seemed like he gave it up a little bit because he really wasn't fighting. in Cleveland, he really wasn't fighting for playing time. He had that one little stint where he really didn't want to play. I just feel like Cleveland wasn't the fit that he thought it would be, but he still did get a chance to have a good playoff run and go to the NBA Finals. But this wasn't a good fit, and it did hurt his money and his stock because he didn't really play in the playoffs and didn't really get consistent minutes. And once they see you playing bad, once they see that you don't get along with your teammates, that destroys your reputation and your name. And it happens. But now he has to figure out how can he get back on that next level. Should he take that qualifying offer and become an unrestricted free agent next year? Should he even just, ask for a trade? See if anybody out there that can't really afford to pick him up through free agency, maybe they can trade him for a pick, give him a small deal and do a sign-in trade. It's harder to do now, but if somebody really wants him, they'll try to get it done. Or maybe it's his career is done. Maybe we looking at Rodney Hood, 25, doesn't care enough on defense, doesn't try enough on offense. One of those tweener guys. He's not offensively gifted enough to play that two position and give you consistent shooting, but he also not long and strong enough to play the three, especially with the Kawhis, LeBrons, and Kevin Durant's. He has the length and the size and the athleticism, but he's only 206 pounds. That hurts when you try to play the 3 and 4 position with those type of scorers, especially if you go back to the West. But I'm still going to give him credit. He still can play. He is only 25 years old, and he's not a bad player. Even if you get that Cleveland Rodney Hood, he still is an NBA player that deserves quality minutes. I am utterly shocked that August 13th, August 14th, August 13th, that he's literally not on the roster at all. He hasn't even came close to signing the offer sheet, and we coming off Utah, this guy averaging 16 points. These people say, yeah, he's going to be able to be in Utah. He's getting better. He's getting healthier. Next thing you know, he's in Cleveland, and now nobody wants him at all. And it's a shocker. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think Rodney Hood still should be in the NBA? Do you think that he's not going to make it after he destroyed his reputation, making that comment in Cleveland and then going out there and playing inconsistent? But you still do have to look from his perspective. He got forced to go to another team. He had to be a professional. He had to listen to what that coach said. They had to utilize him the way they wanted to utilize him. And it just was a bad fit. And then him complaining about not getting no minutes didn't make it any better, even though he did play a part into that. And he didn't show that effort and consistency and care to really want to be on that Cleveland team, which is a bad look for him too. So I gotta give him some credit and some accountability for him being in this situation where he doesn't even have a contract, he doesn't even have a home, and he might be out of the league. Now, if he do take that qualifying offer and get the $3 million, he will be a good trade person because even though he has the trade block, they can't trade him unless he wants to be traded to that team and he can take it off. Other than that, it looks very bleak and bad for him. It is not a good look right now for Rodney Hood. Sometimes teams can ruin your career. Sometimes the coaches and the organizations can do it. But, he still shouldn't give up. He still should keep fighting. He still is an NBA player. I think that this should motivate him and humble him at the end of the day to let him know that, hey, you're a professional. You got to be able to get traded. You got to be able to get waived and come right back at it and try to make another roster spot. I'm not saying he gave up and he quit, but he just didn't look enthused playing with Cleveland. And he did have some good games in Cleveland. He had some good games in the regular season, some solid games in the playoffs. And he's a guy that will make a roster, probably not right now. But if he takes that qualifying offer and becomes an unrestricted free agent next year, he will have a home in Cleveland this year. And he can actually veto any trade that he don't want to go to. If Cleveland wants to trade him, he has to allow him. And if he plays well under that qualifying, he'll have a shot to possibly, repair his image a little bit more and maybe even get a bigger contract, and he can sign a longer-term deal without Cleveland matching because he will be unrestricted. So this could work out for him if he takes the qualifying. If he's considering staying in with Cleveland, I don't think that's a bad fit. Like I said, Colin Sexton needs the versatility on that wing, especially when they're switching. They need that length. They need the three-point shooting, and he's 25. He's young. And he has more room to improve, especially consistency and defensively. Now, at the end of the day, this is something that he's going to have to deal with. This is his career, but I'm just throwing you multiple perspectives and want to know what you guys think. But at the end of the day, having Kevin Love, having Colin Sexton, and having some solid veterans like George Hill, Jared Smith, and Kyle Korver, this team could be a sneaky team that you really don't want to play with because they can get hot. Like I said, a lot of these players are streaky shooters, so they can beat you and hurt you, especially towards the end of the season when every game counts. So they could probably get you 19, 22, 23 wins, and they're going to be a team that you really got to prepare for if you want to just go in there and blow them out. If not, this team can keep it close and steal games from you. And we done seen Rodney Hood do that a lot in Utah. And we see the attitude and the fight in Colin Sexton and Kevin Love can always go for 30 to 40 when healthy and focused. And you can say the same thing about Rodney Hood going for 19 to 25 to 30 sometimes if he's focused. And Kyle Korver can catch fire too. So I think it's a good fit if you stay in Cleveland roster wise. But depending on if him and Tyronn Lue can come up with an agreement, can come up to be on the same page, this may not work out. But then again, if he plays hard, wants it, takes the qualifying, and just tries to become an unrestricted and give it all he got this season, that can resurrect his career potentially, and it can get him on a roster next year and potentially even more money. And that's all about effort, energy, and wanting it. And if he has to do that, like I said, Greg Monroe got $80 million from the Bucks. So Greg Monroe was never a superstar. He was never a franchise player, even when he was playing with Josh Smith and Andre Drummond. He took the qualifying and became an $80 million guy with the Bucks, and he's still in the league to this day. He wasn't clicking right with Stan Van Gundy. He still played out that season and got his money, and they actually made the playoffs too. And that's a good, and you seen it with Jimmy Butler, but we also see people take the qualifying and become unrestricted and go overseas or go to the G League. But I think Rodney Hood will stay in the league once he showed that he still can play, which he has done to a certain extent, but he has to do it for the season. And if he does that, his length, his size, his age, and his three-point shooting might be just enough to get him even if he is a 7 or 8 guy on the bench. That might just be enough to keep him in the NBA for another 3 to 4 years, especially if he can keep hitting that three. And if he continues to be a good switch defender, which he possibly could, like he did in Utah, when they was more defensive focused. These Cleveland teams haven't even been defensive focused even when they won the championship, and they only got worse the last couple years. So he might just need a change of scenery. He might just need to be on a better team and a better coach that fits his style. But if he don't take that until he take that qualifying, we will never know if he's underrated, overrated, or if he can be a star or not a star until we see him get that leash taken off of him and just let him go out there and be himself and play his game. Until then, he may always be a 6-man. Until then, he may never reach his full potential. Until then, he might just be a bench guy sitting at the bench as a 7th, 8th, or 9th man that always get waived and find another roster. Or he might just get a cheap 2-3 year deal like Dante Exum did with another team for cheap, and they just use them how they can and maybe even become a starter depending on the roster and depending on what they're trying to do with that team. So it's still hope out there for him. Don't give up, Rodney Hood. You're still a quality player, still got a lot of potential, and you can play. So let me know what you guys think about Rodney Hood. Is it over? G League, overseas, qualifying, or do you think he's just a bad fit in Cleveland, just need to change the scenery? I think all perspectives is where he should be at mentally, but he still got to get focused on this NBA season because he's going to be on the roster regardless, because the worst thing they can really do is just qualifying him. And that just going to allow him to play anyway, unless they send him on the bench like they did this year. Then that hurts his career even more. That's the worst case scenario. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description, comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description below. And if you want a t-shirt, you can always buy them on my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. It will be in the description, in the comment section below. Click the link, send you my website. Click the link and send you my Facebook page. Like on Facebook to show support. And also, at the end of the day, if you want a t-shirt, you can get any color t-shirt with any of the logos that's on my Facebook page. You can change the color of the logo. You can change the color of the t-shirt and get the one you want. All you got to do is message me. We can get it done. I can get it shipped out to you. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis, I'm gone. And let me know if you guys think next year will Rodney Hood be on the NBA roster? Yes or no? Or do you think this is it? Let me know.